Today we're going to answer the big question. Who is going to win the 2026 World Cup? So we're going to break down all of the favorites, all of the teams that we think have even a little bit of a chance of winning. And I think the best team to start with is the current and reigning holders of the World Cup, Argentina. Okay. Um, it was a slight surprise, I guess, when they won last time. They weren't one of the big favorites, but the magic of Messi pulled them through pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And do you think, I'll start with you, Jermaine, that they have a genuine chance of retaining the World Cup?
I mean, in the same fashion that they won the World Cup last time, I think they always have a chance. I think this time again they might. It's difficult, but again, no one, like you said, no one expected them to win the World Cup last time round, and I think that if you look at their team now, maybe with some better defenders, I think they still have as long as Messi. I know it's an aged Messi, but as long as Messi's in the team, they're always going to be fighting for him, and they're always going to be trying to do whatever they can to push him over the line.
It's pretty
That
much
being
the same squad,
yeah,
right?
more or less. But that being said, I don't really fancy them, but anything's possible.
Yeah. I think just looking through the squad, there's not many changes from last time. As you say, Messi's now is 38, 39. I think he's going to turn 39 during the tournament. Yes, it's pretty much the same. You'd expect maybe the same starting 11 as last time as well. Di Maria's not there. But they've called up Thiago Almada. There's honestly hardly any changes. It's the squad closest to last time out of all the nations at the tournament. All right. Would you agree they're not really one of your favorites, Charlie?
Yeah, they're not one of my favorites, but they're still a strong, solid side. Messi's old, but he's still one of the best players in the world. They still got good, attackers to play off of Messi as well, Lautaro and Alvarez as well. Obviously, no Di Maria, he played a big role in the win in the last World Cup. But yeah, I mean, I'll say player for player, they're probably not in the top 5 favorites even.
Okay. So, all right, you break down who would be your favorites if you're saying the top 1 or 2. Who is top of your list?
For me, Spain, they're top of my list. I just think if Yamal's fully fit, Nico Williams fully fit on the wings, any team's gonna struggle with them too. And that midfield, oh my gosh, we're looking at, it might even be better than the 2010 midfield.
Wow, that's okay. That's a really big shout, actually.
What?
So wait, let's think about this.
Okay.
2010 was Busquets, Alonso, Xavi, and then they also had like Iniesta playing further forward, Silva playing further forward.
This is Rodri, Gavi, Pedri. Like anyone who's watched Barcelona since Gavi's come into the team will know that Gavi is on smoke. He's not. He's back from injury and he's back with a Vendors. Like the way he's playing has been phenomenal, man. He's up there with Pedri. In my opinion, I've always said I preferred Gavi out of the two, but obviously he's had his injuries, his issues, and Pedri's what a player, innit? But Gavi, all rounder, complete all rounder. Like the way he wins the ball back, the work rate, as well as the technical nous, phenomenal player, man. I just think that midfield, it's got everything. It's not missing anything. When like the one in 2010 or Busquets, Alonso, yeah, ballers, but this midfield has everything, man. Now we can't take Rodri for granted as well. Obviously, this season wasn't his best season, but he was getting back to fitness after a long injury. He's had his time. He had a good run of form towards the end of the season when he was fit. And he helped City, almost challenge for the title. But yeah, man, I just think that midfield fully fit, and then with Yamal, like, come on, the best player in the world. And then their defense as well. Don't sleep on their defense. I just think, yeah, they're gonna be the ones to beat. I would have said France, but I just don't trust Deschamps.
Fair enough. So yeah, you mentioned the defense as well. Last tournament in the Euros, it was Lenormand and Laporta starting, right? Lenormand's not in the squad this time, so it'll most likely be Kubasi, which is an upgrade in my opinion anyway. So
Big
that's
upgrade.
yeah, big upgrade. No Carvajal this time, and it's looking like Marcus Llorente will probably be the starter at right back. They've also got Pedro Porro.
See, Llorente, that's like, at right back, he's good, good solid player, but as an all-round player, that's a threat. That's someone who could help them from set pieces even when they need a goal, someone, it's another goal threat from the defense. Like, I don't know, man, the squad is looking very well-rounded this time around.
Would you say they have the best midfield in the tournament? Because I've heard a
Definitely.
lot of people talk about Portugal having the best midfield
Bro,
in the tournament with
Portugal
Vitinha, João Neves, etc. Bruno, of
Portugal have the
course.
most overrated midfield of all time right now.
All time.
Yeah.
Break that down. Just break that down exactly why you say that.
All right, let's start with the a lot of people's favorite midfielder in the world right now, Vitinha. Good player, don't get me wrong. Good player, good for what he's for what he brings to the team. But for me, like he gets carried in the PSG team. Obviously, he looks good because he's technically secure. The guy defensively, he's basic. He doesn't really do anything. He's got João Neves. Okay, João Neves is the one I rate in the Portuguese midfield because for me, he's got everything. Got everything on midfield. How old is he? 21.
Yeah, 21, 22,
bro,
something
that
like
guy
that.
is amazing, bro. Like, you can't, it's hard to get the ball off him. One of the best tacklers in the world, probably. And he gets goals from midfield as well. Very intelligent on the ball. Knows when to press. He's a leader as well on the pitch, man. He's a real baller. But other than him, overrated. Bruno Fernandes, don't even get me started on Bruno. No, I don't care about his 21 assists this season. Like, the guy takes every single set piece. I don't value that stuff. And Vitinha, like I said, he's technically secure, but other than that, he doesn't add much, in my opinion. His job, for me, there's a lot of players in the world that can do that, but they're just not blessed to play for a team like PSG.
I get what you're saying in terms of the role at PSG is completely based around him, right? So it hides the stuff he's not particularly the best at. And maybe even in another team, he'd have to do more of more of the defensive work as a defensive mid, and etc. Right?
Now,
Jermaine,
I even got as far to say Angel Gomez is a better player than him. Why are we laughing?
Getting controversial. No, I mean, I hear you. I completely hear you. I think I wouldn't say Angel Gomez's best role is as that number 6, but he could do that at a similar level. Sounds crazy because he wasn't even
You've
playing
never had the
regularly this
opportunity
season,
to
right?
play for a team like PSG.
Yeah, it's interesting because Vitinha also played at Wolves a few years ago and wasn't getting opportunities. It's all about sometimes, especially with unique players with a unique skill set. It's all about creating the conditions for them to really shine, right? And he's in a position with where Luis Enrique loves the stuff he does and bases everything around him, right? Gives him the most touches on the ball, all of that. Jermaine, do you agree with what he's saying about Portugal? Do you think they have a real chance of winning the World Cup or overrated?
I think if the Portugal team was curated in a certain way, I think they would have a good chance. But again, I just think with the players available in the seasons, like to the point you're making about Bruno, I was going to make a joke about like, oh, is Bruno going to get top assists for the World Cup? Because obviously nobody cares about top assists for the World Cup. But that's like I was thinking,
They don't care if it's Bruno.
Yeah, they're gonna make a big deal.
Yeah, I no disrespect, but I don't think that they don't have the balance of France over Spain. To be honest, even of England. So I don't really see Portugal
But
has
let's
a
look
big.
at even not just the
Yeah.
midfield, right? They've got Nuno Mendes, they've got Cancelo, so that they've got
Yeah,
a lot of strong fullbacks.
of course.
Um,
Bernardo Silva, Pedro
yeah,
Neto. Of
we
course,
haven't
they got
even exactly.
CR7
We
as
haven't mentioned
well.
the main man, right?
To be honest,
CR7.
I would put them on the same level as Argentina. Like, I think the guys are going to play because you've got guys like John Neves, Dog, Vitinha. These guys are going to put in a shift for Ronaldo to carry the World Cup. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think they have enough in order to cross the line. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's the way I see it.
I agree with you, to be honest. My issue has always been, especially with the later years version of Ronaldo, I don't think him and Bruno Fernandes works as a combination.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people get confused when I say that because you think, oh, Bruno assist machine, Ronaldo goal scoring machine. What's not to love, right? But it doesn't take into consideration exactly what they are as players. At this point, Ronaldo is a very one-dimensional player. He's a pure goal scorer. He doesn't add anything else to the team. And that's fine. If you can work around that, you can make that work. But Bruno is someone who people don't realize he's also a one-dimensional player in a lot of ways, right? And he's a very good player in and around the box, playing through balls, playing one-touch passes. He's one of the best in terms of his striking, in my opinion, in and around the area, the box, and he works really hard. But both him, Ronaldo, neither of them have any sort of dribbling ability, carrying the ball ability, and it makes it really difficult tactically and puts so much on the wingers and the midfielders around them to create solutions for them, giving them the ball in the right position for them to actually be effective, right? Because if you give Bruno the ball too far away from goal, he's not going to do anything with it. He's just going to lose the ball. You give Ronaldo the ball outside the area, he's not going to do anything at this point. He's just going to lose the ball. So that is why, for me, one of the biggest omissions out of any of the squads in this World Cup was Quenda. He didn't get called up by Portugal. Roberto Martinez chose, they have a lot of good wide players in Neto and Rafael Leao. But for me, they needed someone who's a complete winger, someone who is a dribbler, works hard, can combine with the midfield, but also create a lot of solutions for Bruno and Ronaldo. So to give them a very simplified role, it might not have been enough anyway. But I think if you at least had a Quenda type, who's a very complete winger, reminiscent to maybe a Saka or someone like that. If I was going to give a comparison to someone else in the tournament, it would give them at least some sort of flexibility when they're in possession, in and out of possession, right? And I think in a big game, this Bruno and Ronaldo combination is going to cost them. I think it's cost them in previous tournaments. It hasn't really been the story, but that's what I think has been the issue. But what I would say is they have a very solid back seven-ish to me. Centre backs are okay. Ruben Diaz is fine. Most likely he'll play next to Renato Vega or Inacio. Okay, yeah, I agree though. I think they can get to the quarters, maybe semis with an easy run, but I don't see them actually being a real challenger to win it. So I'll bring up another team that a lot of people see as potential favorites. One we've talked about before, and that's France. Okay, and we've all talked about how high we are on France, right? I would personally call them my favorites if everything was based on their squad. They should be favorites, but I've just seen the starting lineup for their last warm-up game, right? And I've seen something that worries me. All right, a very good starting lineup. Front four, exactly what I want. Dembele, Olise, Doué, and Mbappe, which is amazing. But behind them is Tchouaméni and Rabiot. Tchouaméni I'm fine with. Rabiot, right? I'm not saying he's the worst player in the world or anything.
It's a
But when
disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. Come on, let's say how it is. It's a
man,
disgrace.
you got Kante, Zaire and Kone on the bench, and it looks like it's going to be Rabiot starting. I think that's unforgivable. Yeah,
He
It's
hasn't
wild.
even been playing in that role this season. Like,
yeah.
come on, it's just they're just forcing it. Like, they're making it too obvious. It's too obvious.
I think this is a big enough deal that it could cost them a World Cup. I genuinely do, because in a big game with a Spain, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spain are going to be in control in possession in the midfield, right? Rodri, Gavi, Pedri. Maybe they'll start with Fabian Ruiz. They've got they got so many different options, right? But France, what they would have if they have any two out of Tchouaméni, Kante, Zaire, Manu Kone, is that domination off the ball, as well as, you know, competitiveness on the ball, because those guys they have various skill sets, but they're great at winning the ball, great in possession, can dribble and drive through the pitch, good under possession, good under threat, good in possession, press resistant as well, is what I meant to say. And that makes them competitive against a Spain, against an England, you know, against all these other big teams. If Rabiot is playing in those games, like, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage that you have no reason to be at.
He's the weakest link in that transition from defense to attack, sitting back, even in possession. He's the weakest in my opinion. He's the weakest link.
100%. For me, they should be the favourites. Their squad, their strength in depth. I like their back four as well. I see Theo Hernandez is starting. There was a bit of talk whether it would be him or Luka Dean, but it looks like he's going to start, which I prefer. Saliba, Pamecano, Koundé at right back, Maignan in goal. Everything's there. Everything's there. And Deschamps is going to blow it, man.
Let's hope not. Let's hope he sees this game and changes his mind.
Yeah, man. Oh, but this is the thing. They'll probably, I don't know who they're facing today even, but they're probably going to blow them away, because look at that front four. It's amazing. Everything's going to look good. And Rabiot's going to look good against the weaker teams with the rest of that team around him. Sure, why wouldn't he? He's not a bad player, but it's those big games where I'm worried. And yeah, man, that evens it up. When I have France as my favorite still, you have Spain, Charlie. Who would you say are your favorites, Shemir?
Again, yeah, I think it's between the two. That being said, I don't know where I've got the confidence from, but I've been feeling a little bit better about this England squad, over the last couple of days since the last time recording. The problem I have with the England squad now is that Declan Rice for Arsenal was a key player. People say he was their best player. I don't know if I agree with that, but defensively they had very, very solid. Like, they have one of the best defenses in the world. They have Timber. I know he's been injured towards the end of the season, but Timber, for me, is one of the best defenders already in the world. They've got Saliba, who is, depending on who you ask, for me, he's number one. I think he's the best defender in terms of reading the game, in terms of not making mistakes. You've got Gabriel, who's just become a monster over the last couple of seasons, and then you've got Calafiore, and then behind them you've got David Raya. So Arsenal can afford to play that style of football. They can afford to sit back, absorb pressure, because they have the best defenders in the game. Whereas England, like, no disrespect to the players, but I don't know how. It's not the same level, It's not the same. Even though Declan Rice is there, you can't trust a Pickford, Guéhi, Konsa. Like, it's just not the same. It's not the same level of defensive nous, defensive tactical knowledge, so that's why I believe that's the one thing that I'm not too sure about in terms of how I believe Thomas Tuchel will line England up against the other teams. That being said, I do have some kind of belief. I'm not going to say England are the favourites. Do you know what? One of you said France, one of you have said Spain. I'm going to put England there. just to complete it. I don't want to come up with the same idea as you guys, but yeah,
No,
yeah.
I hear that.
I have some faith in England for this tournament, even though we haven't been playing well these pre-seasons. These friendly matches.
I agree with you, like completely. Like England should be with France and Spain. I think they, if we're not just talking about the squad that's been picked, and we look at all the countries, what resources they have, England are at least as good as those two. Like the strength and depth should be amazing. But I think with his squad selection, Tuchel's left him in a position where, firstly, 1 or 2 injuries completely destroy their chances. If
Yep.
Harry Kane gets injured, they look like a slightly better version of an Aston Villa, where they will have to play counter-attacking football. Gonna have to use their energy. They'll be competitive in games. Don't get me wrong. I don't see any team destroying England. I just don't see that happening. So, this isn't to say they won't go very far. They could even make the final, and they can win it. They're one of the teams that I say has a chance to win it. But I agree completely with what you're saying about how he's going to set them up defensively, not being the best way to get the best out of this squad, right? I will say, I guess maybe Reece James and O'Reilly, with Saka and Rashford, if they all play, I think that's a very high level wide pairing on both sides. And then Harry Kane there. If you base it around that, even in the counter-attacking style, yeah, that gives them a chance to be competitive against anyone, because nobody's gonna deal with that easily, right?
Yeah.
But man, I'm trying to get past the people he's left out and just focus on who's there. For me, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have the first time they're challenged in a game, they face a team that's one of the top 10 to 12 best teams in the tournament, right? Maybe in the last 16 or something. What's going to happen is they're going to realize then, oh, we're spending a lot of time off the ball, a lot of time sitting back here.
They're gonna see the goal. If they come up against France or Spain in the quarterfinals or something like that, they're gonna see the goal after 15 minutes. They're gonna be like, wow, okay, we're gonna be holding on for most of this game.
Yeah,
which is exactly the situation I wouldn't want England to be in.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
And I think the thing that could help them in that scenario is if they were to throw in Kobbie Mainoo, just like Southgate ended up doing at Euro 2024, right? I don't know if Tuchel will decide to do that. I don't feel like he will. I don't get the sense he's as big a fan, but maybe in training he'll change his mind and stuff. But I think they're gonna need that. Personally, for me, with their squad right now, their best centre mid partnership or trio, if you include the number 10, would be Anderson, Mainoo, and Bellingham. I think that gives you enough solidity off the ball, ability, but allows you to play forward and keep the other team worried about what you're doing on the ball, right?
Yeah.
Declan Rice is almost like a half midfielder, half defender to me. Like, he's so good defensively, he is. But why are you deciding that to be your number one strategy? Right? Like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Saka, Kane, they're the key men, right?
100%.
Just have a look at some of the other teams that could be mentioned. Brazil. Anyone here think Brazil have a chance? Charlie, you think Brazil have a chance? We haven't really mentioned them yet of winning the World Cup.
I like a lot of their players. I do, but I just don't think they're gonna play the right combination of players. I don't think the lineup that they're gonna end up with is gonna have the necessary balance to be successful at a tournament like this. Obviously, Vinicius, he's a class player. But I don't think he's someone who can like be the marquee player for a country like Brazil. He can't be the one carrying the flag. He's not a flag bearer for Brazil. Like, he's good, don't get it twisted, but he should, like, if he's on the bench, it shouldn't be a big deal. That's what I think.
Mm.
For a country as big as Brazil, it shouldn't be a big deal. They got other guys. They got like Hendrick for me needs to be starting. Hendrick needs to be starting. For balance reasons, sometimes bring in Luis Enrique. You know, sometimes bring in players you can, who are possession
Yeah.
first,
Oh,
who are
Enrique.
possession minded.
Luis
Yeah,
Enrique.
Luis Enrique.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, Rafinha, good player as well, but it's in the same boat as Vinny, in my opinion. Like, they don't have to play every minute, every game, but I just feel like because of their names and their reputation, they're both going to be playing. They're both going to be in the starting 11, and I think that's going to be detrimental to their chances.
That makes sense. It'll probably be Casemiro and Guimaraes in midfield, right? And then someone else. Rafinha, Vinny, Hendrick. That doesn't have enough for you. Like, what are you expecting to be the issue? Just so I fully understand, because
that team, I just like, for me, that you have to play counter-attacking football with that type of team. That midfield and the wingers, the attack. You have to play counter-attacking football. You can't really keep the ball of that total team. And even with Casemiro, like we know he's a good player. We know he's still got bags of ability, but he ain't got the legs, man. Like to be playing in a 2, with someone like Bruno Guimaraes, and then just who else is gonna be in front of
I
him?
think the last game, I think they had Paqueta playing in front of them, in front of Guimaraes and Casemiro, and then they had Rafinha, Vinny, and the Humber who's up front. But I think that's what they did to counteract that, or to add legs to the midfield.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right, but I don't have them as one of the favorites. All right. Let's talk about the defense as well, though. The defense is very good. Probably one of
the
best
centre backs.
Yeah,
The centre backs look great, but fullbacks. They've Wesley just pulled out of the squad, right? He's got an injury in the last game. And I think that's a big one because he's probably their strongest fullback that they did name. Now I look at the fullbacks and I'm like, Danilo and Alexandro are like,
which Alexandro from Juve?
yeah.
Isn't he like 35 or 36?
Yeah, like 35, I think. Yeah, but and Danilo's around the same age, like 35.
Wait, does the Danilo that was also at Juve?
Yeah. The City, Juve. And then I don't know the other one. I think Douglas Santos, who plays for Zenit. He's also in his 30s, like 32, 33. That's like I don't know. That's a worry for me. Yeah, that's a worry for me. I don't even know if they have another right back now because they called up Edison, who's a good player, but Edison to replace Wesley, so maybe he'll play right back. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen him play right back because you know what, he probably does have a skill set that could work there. I would put them into the boat of there's a chance, but not one of the favorites as well. Just like Argentina and Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
I rate Ancelotti so highly. Like, I trust him in big moments to make the right calls in like in a tournament, right? And as a manager, he might be my favorite manager in the competition. So he probably is, yeah. So that's making me give them a chance. I do love that centre back partnership, and you got Alisson behind him. So I'll give them a chance. That's what I would say. And how about Germany? No, you're shaking your head. No chance.
Okay. I'll be real. Like they ain't got anything. Like they got Musiala, Kimmich. Who else?
Yeah, Kimmich is gonna play right back as well.
Nice.
See, the problem that Germany have now is that they've got a Wirtz who didn't have a great season. They've got Musiala who's kind of come back from injury. They've got Voltemade who didn't play the whole season. And then they've got Havertz who played some, didn't play, scored in Champions League final. So what? And then they've got Leroy Sané that he just doesn't. To me, he's not looking very fantastic anymore. I don't know where they can dominate. Defensively, no, I don't see it.
Yeah, like okay, Wirtz don't like. I rate him. Like, don't get twisted. He's a good player, but like, how are you gonna fit him and Musiala in the same team? One of them has to go on the wing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I think
I
in
don't
the
like
last
either of
game it
them
was
on the
Wirtz on the left.
Unless
Yeah.
they play wing backs.
Yeah,
Nah,
that's
man.
recently hasn't been wing backs. It's been Kimmich, right back, Raum or Brown, left back, maybe Schlotterbeck and Tar, maybe Rudiger as your centre
Yeah,
back.
it's not
Not a
convincing
threat.
at all.
Not a
Yeah.
threat.
No.
Go for it. Yeah. I agree. I agree with you. I don't know. The starting 11 isn't terrible to me, but yeah, and they have a tough group as well. Actually, I think they're in the same group as Ivory Coast and Ecuador.
Oof.
Um,
Yeah.
it could be all three of them going through, of course, with this new
Yeah.
system. So it might be okay. Because I think the other team's Curacao, but they're not as bad as people think. Yeah, I agree with that. Any others? Could mention Netherlands. Do they have a chance? Would you say, Jermaine?
Yeah, I mean, Netherlands is always the team that I look at, and I'm like, they like if you look at the last World Cup, they didn't do too badly. Like they did a good job. It's just they had a very heated final with Argentina. Argentina were able to get the better of them, and the way they did. But I think Netherlands are always like that's the one team you can't count. You can't cut them out. I will put them on the same level as the Argentinas, the Portugals. The only issue I have with Netherlands is I don't think they have the balance that they don't have the same balance as a Spain or a Portugal or even the England. Because I know they can play Gakpo, Somerville on the left, Noah Lang on the left, but on the right hand side, if they were to play four at the back, let's say, on the right hand side, they don't really have somebody. They don't really have anybody who's been, who's been fantastic in that position. I mean, they've over the last 15, 20 years, they've had Arjen Robben, and even last World Cup they had Steven Berghaus, but none of these players are. They made. I mean, Robben's retired a long time ago. Berghaus, I think he's old now. He can't. I don't think he's even playing anymore. So I don't know where on that side of the pitch they're missing something, and I think that also the fact that they don't. I mean, up front they have options. They have Memphis, they have Marlon, they have Robbie, and all these guys they have different ways of playing. They can contribute in different ways, but I just think they're missing the balance on the right hand side that the other teams have. And yeah, that's the issue with them.
I get that. I think they're playing today, and I think it's Somerville playing on the right, so maybe it'll be him starting. He can do a job there. Yeah, I agree. And that attack just in general doesn't scream challenges for a World Cup.
Yeah,
I do rate the midfield, like
Yeah.
De Jong, Gravenberch, I think are top players. Rander's a good
Yeah.
player. Van Dijk's still there, of course. So it's an okay team, but I don't put them up with the other teams we've been talking about, to be honest. Yeah. All right. So just to conclude, then, having gone through everything, you're sticking with Spain, Charlie. Yeah, that's your team. I'm gonna go with France. How about you, Jermaine?
Yeah. Let me take England. I'll take England because nobody's
All right,
got
man.
the faith, but I'll take the faith in England.
All right, man. Let's see.